Good morning. So today we will learn regarding the cytoskeleton. First of all, what is cytoskeleton that we should know? Cytoskeleton are those structures which are required to form a particular shape in the cell. Okay, there are different type of cytoskeleton which are present in different cells that we will learn regarding about it in the following video. So as for in this video, we will see what actually is cytoskeleton. So cytoskeleton is something which is supporting the cell to form a particular structure. How the cell actually wants to be in the animal's body. It depends upon various factors. Okay, so that particular integrity of the cell is given by the cytoskeleton. Okay, so cytoskeleton, there are different parts, and there are different type of cells present in animal's body as the cell looks like. How it wants to be, it entirely depends upon its function. What is the function of the cell? So will be the structure, the shape, the integrity of the cell, and so will be the modification in the cytoskeleton. Okay, so this is in brief regarding cytoskeleton. We will learn in detail regarding the same in the following video. Thank you. Good morning. So this is a continued part of the things which we have discussed in the introductory video of the cytoskeleton. Okay, so now, as you can see it on the screen, there is a basic definition of the cytoskeleton. Just go through it. What is actually cytoskeleton? So it is something which is providing structural support to the cell. The cytoskeleton also functions in cell motility and regulation. So there are two basic parts in the definition here. So first of all, the cytoskeleton provides structural support to the cell. Okay, then the next part is, as I have already said in the last thing, that it also, what you can call, it is important in the function of the cell like motility and regulation. Very two important terms. Discuss regarding it in the coming slides. Okay, so cytoskeleton not only are important to form the structure of the cell, that means that how actually a cell looks like and how actually a cell wants to be in the animal's body, wherein it actually wants to fit, and what all functions it is supposed to perform or it wants to perform. That all depends upon cytoskeleton. So two parts in the definition. First of all, it is something which is providing structural support to the cell, and the cytoskeleton also functions in cell motility and regulation. Okay, what is motility and regulation? We'll see it in the coming slides. Okay, in the next slide you can see here the structural support. First of all, how does the structural support, the what we call, is given by the cytoskeleton to the animal cell? So structural support is given first of all by mechanical support. In that, the first thing what we are going to discuss is regarding the mechanical support. Okay, so the mechanical support, why it is actually important is because the animal's body is very prone to different type of shocks, like mechanical shock, like physical shock, like biological shock, because animal's body is a dynamic condition or dynamic system. Okay, unlike the plant body wherein it has also got some different shocks coming into its way, but the animal's body has got more possibility of getting exposed to that. Okay, then what actually happens here? The mechanical support, it is provided by the cytoskeleton. The cell, if it wants to stretch, bend, elongate, so without undergoing any damage, that will be given by the cytoskeleton. Okay, so the cytoskeleton consists of mainly fibers, thin fibers made up of proteins. Okay, and that proteins, they act like a geodesic dome to stabilize and balance the opposing forces. Now, what is the geodesic dome? You can see it on the screen in the what you call the this particular slide. These are the geodesic structures, geometrical structures where a sphere is what you can call, where a sphere is there, and at every pressure point one particular knot is there through which different bars are connected with each other. If you just dismantle one bar, the entire structure cannot be retained. This is what we call basic structure of a geodesic structure. Okay, so here fibers also act. That means fibers means the cytoskeletal fibers. They also act as geodesic dome, that is actually stabilizing and opposing the balancing forces. Stabilizing and balancing the opposing forces. That is what I actually mean. Okay, then later it provides anchorage for organelles. It provides anchorage for organelles. That means anchorage might be knowing is the general term. So anchorage means where actually the cell wants what materials actually wants to stuck in the cell. So actually it will be forming a what we call a mesh like structure in which the cell organelles, or that means cell, the different parts of the cell are stuck or are stuck there. Okay, then next thing is it is very dynamic. I'll just explain regarding this in the coming slides with the help of some good photographs. Okay, then it is dynamic. That means it is able to get dismantled at one spot and reassembles in another to change cell shape. That means cytoskeleton means you might be getting an idea that the it might be a rigid structure as it is present in our body, but it is not like that. The cytoskeleton are very flexible, very dynamic. That means they are able to undergo assembling and disassembling, assembling and disassembling. Okay, so for this particular thing, the cytoskeletal structure needs to have a proper protein structure. Okay, so this is what is happening. You can see it in the next slide there. uh, so here, okay, a very good photograph is it is the electron micrograph photograph. So the cytoskeleton is a network of fibers extending throughout the cytoplasm. The cytoskeleton organizes the structure and activities of the cell. Okay, so here it is a mesh like structure. You can see it on the screen, through which in which the materials are going to stuck. So this is a mesh like structure which is formed in the cell, in which the what we call the materials are stuck. You can take the example of the what we call the concrete slab which is there in the home. The of the framework of the bar, it is actually nothing but like a comparable to cytoskeleton. The concrete which we are putting in that is nothing but the cell organelles, so the contents of the cell. So both together will form a integrated structure. That actually is cytoskeleton. Okay, next, what we call the cytoskeleton plays a major role in cell motility. This involves both changes in cell location and limited movement to the part of the cell. Cell motility I was talking about. So cell motility is nothing but what we call not movement shown by the cell, but actually the what we call the movements which are happening inside the cell. It is actually called as cell motility. What movements are happening in the cell now? So there are different movements which are happening inside the cell. That means the different transportation of materials from one part of the cell to another part of the cell. So these things are happening with the help of this what we call cytoskeleton. Now how? Okay, so that we'll learn it a bit later. Now next point, what it is mentioned in the slide, you can see there that this involves both changes in cell location and limited movements of the part of the cell. Okay, then the cytoskeleton interacts with motor proteins. Okay, that means there are the cytoskeleton are nothing but actually acting as the railways, and motor proteins are the trains, so upon which the materials are carried from one part of the cell to another part of the cell. Okay, very good example they have taken is regarding the cilia and flagella. Motor proteins pull components of the cytoskeleton past each other. That means they are showing the gliding movement. You can see it in the bottom part of this particular slide, where microtubule of cytoskeleton and motor protein, which will be powered by the ATP molecule, are both gliding upon each other, giving rise to the cell motility parts. Okay, so this is also very true in muscle fibers. What basically every animal's body has got as muscles, and its movement is shown by these particular things. Okay, Coming to the next thing. Okay, the types. There are three main types of this particular thing, that is the what we call cytoskeleton type, that is microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments. Okay, so these are the three basic things what we should know regarding in cytoskeleton. Here is a very good basic table. What actually you are seeing it on the screen is nothing but the differences in the three types of the microtubules, sorry, the cytoskeleton. Okay, at one left hand side you can see the property of the cytoskeleton parts and the different what you can call types: microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments. The different things which are compared here, that is structure, diameter, protein subunits, and as well as the main function. Later the structure is also shown in the form of electron micrograph, colored photographs, fluorescent photographs actually. And later these particular what we can call the protein subunits, which are what we can call how actually they are found with the help of animated structure, as it is shown. When coming to the structure, the largest cytoskeleton is nothing but microtubules, the smallest is nothing but the microfilaments, and the intermediate is nothing but the intermediate filaments, as the name goes. Okay, the diameter structure also it is comparable, it is very clearly visible on the screen, you can see there. And the protein subunits which are present in the microtubules, it is nothing but tubulin, alpha and beta tubulin. And in the microfilaments it is actin protein. And in the intermediate filaments it is one of very different type of or different what we call proteins which are found in the keratin family. That means generally the proteins which from the keratin protein family. Okay, then functions is also comparable, you can see they have got different little bit different functions to perform, it is very clear on the screen. And the structure is also very clear, you can see how in the animated structure you can see the tubulin and what we call tubulin monomer, that is alpha and beta tubulin, how it is formed. And in the second microfilaments how actin subunits are formed. And the intermediate filaments how the protein subunits are actually located, which is a very typical structure of a muscle fiber. Okay, so this is in brief regarding the uh, cytoskeletal and its function, definition, and types. Okay, thank you.